The Team VVV Awards 2018, sponsored by Ben Green Racing and Thrustmaster.
Hi guys, well, we're continuing with the Team VVV Racing Game Awards 2018. Next category we're looking at is Best Handheld Game. Now this really focuses on the Nintendo Switch. Of course, last year the Switch console was released and it's taken the industry by storm. It's really revitalized, I think, the sort of mobile gaming genre for handheld systems. But anyway, there's an absolute storm of racing games released towards the end of last year, which we're going to look at. But first of all, I'm joined as ever with Alan.
Hello, viewers.
And Kevin.
Hi, guys.
So just going through the nominees then for Best Handheld Game, we have Mantis Burn Racing, Gear Club Unlimited, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Rocket League, and Fast RMX. So if we start with Mantis Burn Racing, obviously we covered this as well in Best Indie Title, but of course this really focuses on the Switch version. The Mantis Burn Racing, like we said before, it really revitalized the top-down racing genre, but I really think the Switch version is probably the best version of this game yet, simply because first off, it's the definitive version, so you get all the updates that have been added prior to the initial release. But also, it just suits the platform so well. I've been a fan of MotorStorm RC, for example, on the PlayStation Vita, and Mantis Burn Racing for me is like the Nintendo Switch equivalent of MotorStorm RC, to be honest. It's got that simple pick up and play handling. It's just so satisfying, but it just works wonderfully well on a handheld system. What do you think? What do you guys think of what you've seen of Mantis Burn Racing on the Switch, Alan?
I think it looks really nice. I mean, it's a pretty much perfect conversion. It runs really well. They've improved it since you saw the early version, which of course had some frame rate issues, but then they optimized that.
It's a solid 60 frames per second now.
Yeah, which is beautiful on a handheld. And I think it's the perfect format for it. So in that sense, it's the best package of Mantis Burn Racing. Yeah, I think, as we've said before, it could do with more locations. Really, I think it just needed a bit more to it in terms of the journey that you go on through the game and more variety. But other than that, it's very nice.
I remember when I first met the developers, I said, I wish I could play this on a handheld because it suits that format so well. And then a couple of years later, here we are. Kevin, would you like to play Mantis Burn on a handheld? Do you think it really works for that system?
I think it does. It's because it's one of those games where you have like pretty short racing. It's very fun racing, I might add. But yeah, they're quite sort of short races, aren't they? And they have a nice variety of events and that. So stuff like that is perfect, isn't it, for handheld? Because you just sort of take part in a few races and then you put it down again and you pick it up later and you do the same thing again. So it's it's so good that it runs technically brilliant on that platform as well. So that's a really good achievement there for the developers. And I just wish there was a sequel. I want more of Mantis Burn. Give me a sequel.
Honestly, visually, it's one of those games you need to see in motion to really do it justice, particularly on a handheld. The vibrancy of the environments, just the detail of the textures, particularly in the sort of Rocky Canyon environments. It really does.
Oh, stunning!
It really does stand out. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Next up, then we have Gear Club Unlimited. This is an interesting one because it is the only game that has licensed real-world cars on the Nintendo Switch, which is quite surprising. Obviously games like Mario Kart and Mantis Burn, they haven't got licensed cars, but I think a lot of people wanted Gear Club to be the kind of equivalent to Forza and Gran Turismo on Nintendo Switch. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite have that same level of depth. I should point out as well, actually, it was made by Eden Games, which you may be familiar with.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they made the original V-Rally and, of course, Test Drive Unlimited, one of your favourite series, Kevin.
And on the subject of Test Drive Unlimited, the name Gear Club Unlimited is thrown sort of car words into a sort of a blender, and it's just come out with that, So it's a really unusual name, isn't it? It's like a mishmash.
It's like, which games were popular before? Oh, Drive Club and Test Drive Unlimited. Let's just combine them. My only problem with this game is that it originated as a mobile game, and it does show, unfortunately. Yes, they've got rid of the microtransactions, which is good to see. That really did let the game down. But it is still a AAA title price. I think that for me, that is the biggest issue of this game. There's not an awful lot of cars and tracks to choose from. The career mode is very extensive, I should say. I think there's over 100 races, but they only last about a couple of minutes each. So it's good for gaming on the go, for the handheld, if you're playing the Switch in handheld, but not so much in docked mode on a TV. What do you guys think of what you've seen of Gear Club Unlimited, then, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I guess it's quite a limited game in terms of gameplay elements, but for a platform such as the Switch on the go, I guess it is sort of ideal in a sense that it has these sort of mobile origins, so it does translate quite well on the sort of handheld platform. But in terms of competing with the other games on this list, I feel it just falls a little bit short.
Yeah, I mean, I when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is exciting, a proper car game coming to Nintendo Switch like this, and big car models and everything. But in motion, it's not the fluidity is not great. The cars are quite solid, and it lacks the sort of dynamic look and feel that one would expect from a console racing game. And I should imagine that's even more apparent when you play it in docked mode.
Yes.
So it was not terribly spectacular in any way, but obviously if you like a proper car racing game, then it's sort of there. But this is a very strong category this year, and in that sense, it certainly isn't standing up to some of its competitors. Yeah,
exactly. I think too, the handling of the cars is quite difficult to get to grips with, because it's not a hardcore simulation, but it's not a pure arcade racer either. It kind of has this middle ground, but it just didn't feel intuitive to me on some of the cars. It's hard to explain, but I think you're going with these certain expectations, and it doesn't quite fulfill them. One thing I do like about this game, though, is the overall presentation. You can really see the inspiration from Test Drive. Like, you go into a dealership, and you can browse the cars and be very nerdy and open the engine compartment and the doors and that sort of thing. So it does appeal to car fans, car enthusiasts. But yeah, I just wish there was more content in there, because there's only about 20 or 30 cars, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so it's definitely not a Forza or Gran Turismo competitor. Anyway, moving on. Of course, one of the biggest releases on Nintendo Switch in the racing genre was, of course, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, one of our highest rated games of last year, actually, on the website. I gave it a 9 out of 10, and very well deserved it was too, because I think, like I explained on other podcasts, I went into this game thinking it would be a straight-up lazy port of Mario Kart 8, but no, the developers actually went the extra mile. They added new content. It's got all the DLC from the previous game, as well as a new battle mode exclusive for the Switch version.
Which is sorely needed, didn't it?
Yes, the Wii U version was very... you could tell it's just sort of tacked on the last minute. They just used
it was lazy, wasn't it? Yeah, it needed its own environments, and thankfully it got that in Deluxe, so it realised its sort of potential.
Exactly.
And, it's like you say, we expected less, I guess, but we should have known better, probably. So it's here, and it certainly is a strong contender, isn't it, amongst all the others? It really is like a very, very high quality game, isn't it?
I mean, content alone, you've got nearly 50 tracks, as in 50 original tracks, not just multiple layouts. But yeah, for me, Mario Kart 8 really does tick at all the boxes. It's very fun to play. It looks fantastic, especially on a handheld. The visuals really pop with thanks to the vibrancy of the environments. There's not much else to say, to be honest. We've said so much about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but
I will just say, as I echo my previous feelings on it.
Yeah,
massive package. Amazing graphics, brings everything you could ever want into the perfect Mario Kart game. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty much perfection there in a box in terms of Mario Kart's concerned. Where do they go from here? Who knows?
Well, I'm hoping to see a dedicated Switch sequel at some point, but I think, as I said on my review, I really don't know where they're going to go from here, because it was close to perfection, I think, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Really, I think the only game that rivals its fun factor is Rocket League. Of course, we discussed this in our Best Indie Game award. So on the Switch, this was developed by, I forget the name now, actually, but it's the same developer that ported over Doom. they've done a tremendous job actually optimizing it for the Switch. There were a few visual compromises, so the texture quality wasn't as detailed as the previous release, but quite frankly, who cares? It's Rocket League. It's what matters here is the gameplay, and none of that was sacrificed at all in the Switch version. It's still got that brilliant pick up and play factor. I think too the fact that your average match lasts about 5 minutes, and that just suits the handheld format just so wonderfully well. But obviously, Kevin, you're a hardcore fan of the Rocket League, to say the least. What do you think of what you've seen of the game running on Nintendo Switch? Do you think it lives up?
I think it does. I think it's very impressive considering it's on a handheld platform. And it's just I have a basic addiction to Rocket League, so the thought of playing it on the go is probably a bit terrifying because
it's even more addictive. It really is.
Exactly. So I better leave that one alone. But from what I've seen of it, it certainly does do the original game justice. So on the go, I can't imagine how much time I would possibly put into this. So for my own sanity, I think I better avoid the handheld version. But yeah, it does look fantastic.
I agree. I should have said as well, actually, it does have a couple of Nintendo exclusive features, mainly cosmetic. But for Mario fans, there's a Mario themed car, which obviously has the Mario hat and the Luigi hat. But I like the fact they incorporated sound effects in the series as well. So when you jump, it makes the signature sound from Mario World.
Yeah, that would drive me crazy. That would say not my thing.
And same for the Metroid Prime car as well. It's based on the main character's spaceship.
Cool.
So again, it's good to see they've gone the extra mile there. Not quite on the level of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but nevertheless, they could have just ported it straight over, and it would have been a huge sales success anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Rocket League visually has never been the most demanding game. It's being kept simplistic because they want to keep high frame rate, fluid action. And in that sense, it converts very well to the handheld. But I've said this before. I just think the handheld's almost the perfect format for Rocket League. You just play it there and play it online, nice and casually, and it's just
supposed to be casually, but it's so addictive.
It's so addictive. It all gets serious. It's the tension, isn't it? Like you've got to win that game.
It's the fact too that the matches only last 5 minutes. So if just one more go, and then it turns into 5 minutes turn into 5 hours every time. It's a curse, honestly. Anyway, finally then, our last game, our last nominee is Fast RMX. Again, this game really does fill a void. Obviously, F-Zero, there's not been a new F-Zero game for far too long. I think it's about 15 years, something like that. For whatever reason, Nintendo is reluctant to port that to make a new game. So this is an enhanced port of Fast Racing Neo, which came out on the Wii U. But of course, nobody bought a Wii U, so nobody got to play it, which is a shame. And it's the same for Mario Kart 8. Brilliant game, but sadly underlooked because, let's face it, the Wii U is a flop. In fact, the Switch has already outsold the Wii U's lifetime sales, which is incredible. But yeah, Fast Racing Neo really was the next best thing to F-Zero. It was brutally challenging as well, so they really retained that. But yeah, a really solid futuristic racer. It was unique in that it had this boost system where you had to constantly change the color of your boost engine to match the track. So yeah, it really demands a lot of concentration. Again, Fast RMX, there's not an awful lot of improvements for Fast Racing Neo. They've improved the performance a bit, and I think they've added 5 new tracks. So again, it's not quite as big a package as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it costs about a third of the price. So in that sense, there's little to complain about, to be honest, with Fast RMX, apart from the difficulty. But even that's been tweaked actually for Fast Racing Neo. I think too visually, I think the standout feature of this game is the visuals on Nintendo Switch. On PlayStation Vita, I remember being blown away when I first saw Wipeout 24/7. Same with Ridge Racer, actually, on the original PSP. And Fast RMX gives me that same sense of awe when I look at it. I think it's easily the best looking portable racer game perhaps ever. What do you think, Alan, from what you've seen of it? I know you're a fan of futuristic races.
Well, firstly, echoing your feelings on the visuals. The visuals on it are absolutely outstanding, and they are as good as anything you've seen on the Switch. It brings, like you say, the previous version was released. I remember we covered that at the time on the Wii U in some depth, and it was a game that we wished was converted to more formats. I mean, at the time, that was before Redout and Wipeout. And it was a game that we wanted more people to see. But either way, it looks stunning. Obviously, it adds more circuits to it. So in that sense, the package is much larger. If you haven't played the game, I quite like the color changing element. I think that adds to it. So it has its own unique element. It's got to fill a void of somewhere between Wipeout and F-Zero. And in that sense, they've had the market to themselves. Surprising, really, that Nintendo have just sort of dropped the ball as far as F-Zero is concerned, because certainly there's a massive void for that. And for me, it's definitely up there for me as one of my favorite sort of handheld games of the year.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so we now have to decide on a winner. Alan, what's your pick for best handheld game?
Well, actually, I think it's quite difficult this year. I was just thinking about it and I was talking and my brain's thinking, my mouth isn't communicating. But you got Mantis Burn Racing, which is the best version there's been of Mantis Burn Racing. It's outstanding on the Switch, plain outstanding, brilliant work from developers there. You've got Mario Kart 8, which is damn near perfect production in all areas. It really is amazing. You've got Fast RMX from an indie developer point of view, pushing the graphics more than anyone. Great package as well. I mean, on a personal front, that's the sort of game I would play a lot.
Yep.
You've got Rocket League that I know Kevin and yourself like a lot, and it's an outstanding version of Rocket League. And what can you say? It's perfect for the handheld. It is a really difficult decision I'm having on this category. But ultimately, I have to say Mario Kart, because it's, as much as my heart would appreciates the incredible work from the other developers, Mario Kart just has so much in it that works. Everything, the graphics, the visuals, the playability, everything works perfectly, and it optimizes every capacity of the Nintendo Switch. And in that way, it can't be faulted. So my vote's for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
What about yourself, Kevin?
Yeah, it is a tough one because we have like about 3 different budget titles here, which are easily recommendable, at the price points. But I guess overall, you have to give it to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because it's the quality is so high. It's just mesmerized. You have amazing circuits, color, vibrancy. Incredible characters, animations. There's just so much to do. They've got the new battle mode maps in there as well. It's like a perfected version of Mario Kart 8, and that can only be an excellent thing. So for me, it does stand out as the best. But as I say, the other budget titles, Mantis Burn, Fast RMX, Rocket League, they're all very recommendable, particularly at their price points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much the same as you guys. I think you could easily argue a case for most games on this list. I think they all stand out. They all stand out in their own way. Mantis Burn Racing, I think, would have probably won it if it wasn't for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is, for me, the clear standout. It just ticks all the boxes. It could so easily be a lazy port, but they went that extra mile, and I really appreciate that. It is a console quality. It's a console quality Mario Kart game on a handheld, and the novelty of that just never wears off for me. I really do struggle to find fault with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is why it was one of our highest rated games of last year. So there we have it. Our best handheld game award goes to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Probably one of the most predictable results, but there you go. A well-deserved win, I would say. But yeah, that's it from us then. Thanks for your contributions, Kevin and Alan. And we'll have much more awards coming this week as we get towards the final Game of the Year award. So stay tuned for that. More coming soon.
The Team VVV Awards 2018, sponsored by Ben Green Racing and Thrustmaster.